It's been 2 years since the Taliban regained control in Afghanistan, marking sweeping changes across the country's social political landscape. This period has witnessed tragic and life-altering changes in various aspects of Afghan society, whether it is the lives of the Afghan people, especially women, or matters pertaining to governance, human rights and international rights. Today, in a major development, the Afghan embassy in New Delhi announced its permanent closure, citing persistent challenges from the Indian government. The Afghan embassy stated that the decision to close its diplomatic mission came after an earlier cessation of operations on the 30th of September. The statement says the decision follows the embassy's earlier cessation of operations on the 30th of September, a move made in the hope that the Indian government's stance will favorably change to let the mission operate normally. The embassy also stated that it was cognizant that some might attempt to label this move as an internal conflict involving diplomats who switched allegiance to the Taliban, but this is a decision which is a result of broader changes in policy and interests. It goes on to say, given the constant pressure from both the Taliban and the Indian government to relinquish control, the embassy faced a difficult choice. India has been a steadfast strategic partner of the erstwhile Afghan Republic since 2001, and we acknowledge the limitations and concerns that govern the realm of realpolitik and the balancing act required at a difficult time in a geopolitically sensitive region. Thanking the Afghan citizens in India for their understanding and support, the embassy said that despite the limitations in resources and power, they always work tirelessly for the betterment of their people, even in the absence of a legitimate government in Kabul. This closure marks the end of Afghanistan's presence in India. All their diplomats have left, leaving behind only the Taliban-affiliated diplomats who essentially attend online meetings. Earlier, the Afghan embassy had made several requests to the Indian government, urging it to take custody of the Afghan diplomatic properties, bank accounts and vehicles, along with the $500,000 in the embassy's bank account. Afghan refugees, students and traders in India have decreased in numbers since August 2021, when the Taliban took over Afghanistan. New Delhi has issued limited new visas to Afghan nationals during this period. In its statement, the Afghan embassy also said, unfortunately, efforts have been made to tarnish our image and hinder diplomatic efforts in order to justify the presence and work of Taliban-appointed and affiliated diplomats. In the face of these challenges, our committed team worked diligently in the most difficult circumstances, prioritizing the interests of the 40 million Afghans in every possible sphere, from securing humanitarian aid and online education scholarships to facilitating ease in trade and advocating for the formation of a broad-based government. Remember, the diplomatic personnel at the Afghan embassy in New Delhi had been appointed by the then Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, who fled Afghanistan when the Taliban took over. These diplomats had refused to recognize the Taliban regime and rejected the militia's demand that they quit their posts. India has not officially recognized the Taliban government in Afghanistan. New Delhi had established diplomatic ties with the democratically elected government of Afghanistan back in 2001 after the Taliban had been ousted from power by the US. It withdrew its diplomatic staff from Kabul in August 2021 as the Taliban were advancing towards the Afghan capital.